Hi.
So, how are you, Claudia?
I'm fine, thank you. 6 p.m. here in Madrid, in time.
Yeah, so our friend is on the other side of the world. She lives in Madrid, but she is from Mexico. So
Yeah.
I like for you to introduce, like what you do and why are you in Madrid?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. And I have to say hello to one of our friends that are here. Hi, Stefania, and hi, Diana. And thank you for coming from to listen to our conversation. Whoops, I had a. Okay, now it's done. Okay, so I'm Claudia. I'm from Mexico, and I studied business actually, and I married a Spanish guy. I came here and had to quit my job and started living here and had my first child. And then I started to be really to notice how important was music to children development, as all new mommies start to learn a lot about this stuff and how to be, I don't know, and to better the education of children. So I started to learn about this stuff and started to try to get Paula, which is my oldest, to learn music and to live around music and have a crianza musical. I don't know how to say that, like a musical, well, uplifting, or how do you say that, like crianza?
Oh, well, it's gonna be parenting and or
Parenting. Okay.
raising.
Yeah, like musical parenting then. So yeah, that's how I came to all this musical stuff and world.
Wonderful. And actually, like I feel like a lot of people that have followed Mama Tortuga in the past, they know that we are huge on the arts, and we believe
Yeah.
that offering arts and including music for us is another language that we can offer to our children.
Hmm.
So I think it's so important to like talk about these issues because like I just want to mention to everyone who's watching and will be watching this in the future. Claudia has a wonderful podcast. It's called Allegro Magico. You guys will find it under Apple Podcasts or
Yeah.
which other things can they find you?
If it's because it's in Spanish, you can find me all in ebooks, which is spelled IVOOX. So that's where you can find almost all Spanish podcasts. Hmm.
And I will be posting this on my website as well. I'm putting the link on my profile. So I will have a landing page for
Yeah.
all of you to have this as a resource. And
Thanks.
I wanted to say the same things we just said in Spanish. Buenas, ¿cómo están? Es muy feliz de verlos todos con nosotros. Estamos introduciendo a nuestra Claudia de Allegro Mágico. Ella tiene un podcast en español que le enseña a los niños y también a las familias sobre la apreciación de la música, especialmente la música clásica. Quería precisamente preguntarte acerca de eso. ¿Por qué quisiste hacer un podcast acerca de la música clásica?
Todo empezó porque yo quería compartir la música clásica con mi hija mayor, con Paula, y no sabía por dónde empezar. A mí siempre me había parecido música maravillosa. De hecho, en aquel entonces, cuando salieron los primeros CDs, no sé si recuerdas, había muy poca colección, muy poca música. Y recuerdo que mi padre lo primero que compró fue una colección de 10 CDs de música clásica. Y yo tendría 7, 8 años. Así que fue algo con lo que crecí. Siempre me pareció interesante, pero nunca aprendí. Así que estaba interesada en compartir la música clásica con mi hija mayor. Y
Mira qué linda memoria y qué bella experiencia. En realidad, esta es la clave.
claro,
Muchos padres preguntan, pero bueno, yo quiero que mi hijo o mi hija sepa más de música o aprenda un instrumento, pero el
mm,
primer paso, padres, siempre es poner a sus hijos. Es algo
sí,
que debe ser desde bebés y yo creo que muchos hogares, o sea, sin importar qué gustos de música tengamos, siempre es bueno recordar que la música clásica ha sido como la base para muchos otros estilos de música. Entonces,
mm,
ayer estaba escuchando una persona que hizo un estudio acerca de todas las diferentes músicas que han sido famosas a través de la historia, y especialmente mucha música moderna, los ritmos, los tiempos, los tempos son basados en música clásica. Entonces decía, bueno, esta canción de los Rolling Stones que es famosa, que todos cantamos, es basada en el tempo de esta otra canción de Mozart. Y yo digo,
sí.
oh,
Mind blowing.
el libro reconocía esos patrones. O sea, hay tantos estudios que corroboran el exponer no solamente a niños, a plantas,
Mm,
animales, bueno, a de todo,
sí.
a música clásica, porque esa música tiene componentes que, o sea, que realmente ayudan a que el cerebro se relaje y que el
Mm,
cerebro sea, o sea, expandido de diferentes maneras. Entonces,
mm,
se me hace maravilloso de que tú tengas este podcast que está al alcance de muchos padres, porque está en la internet. Y
sí,
el link lo voy a poner en mi website, en mamatortuga.org. Ustedes ya saben que es bilingüe, todo mi website. Entonces ahí va a estar todo en inglés y en español, y también he puesto las redes sociales de Allegro Mágico.
gracias. Sí, de hecho tienes toda la razón. Toda la música popular está basada en la música que ha sido la tradicional durante tantos años. La música clásica no es solo de 1700 y 1800. La música clásica va desde que se empezaron a hacer las primeras notaciones musicales hasta nuestros tiempos. Son más de 1000 años de música que a la que llamamos música clásica, pero en realidad es música con diferentes géneros. Así que sí, muchos de los grandes compositores de ahora de música pop, eh, YouTube, Oasis, eh,
Bonito.
Coldplay, todos empezaron aprendiendo música y música clásica. Entonces está en sus canciones, está en sus composiciones, podemos escucharla en cualquier parte. Y yo creo que gran parte de la razón por la que yo decidí hacerlo de música clásica es por eso mismo. Hay una cierta barrera en la que pensamos música clásica y luego muchas veces pensamos es complicado, es snobbish, es, es para otras personas,
No
es
es
para los entendidos, es música inteligente o difícil.
música europea y
Mm,
o sea, no nos apaña, no es de nosotros, porque,
exacto.
ah, pero mira, ¿sabes qué? Este argumento, porque es que quería traducir lo que acabamos de decir precisamente
Yeah,
para...
let's translate it. Yeah.
We were talking about the basis of a lot of the music, the contemporary music, the pop music, and nowadays, basic are classical music, and
Yeah.
like how many of the contemporary artists base their hits on tempo of classical composers. And there have been many studies that show that our brains, even animal brains, plants, anybody can be benefited by listening, just like being exposed to the classical music. But many times we find the argument like, well, but that music is, it's snobbish. It's not really like my music. It's not.
Mm,
But that doesn't take away from, us exposing our children to that music. And the argument may be, like I will always say, like, regardless of your taste in music, and I have many very, very eclectic taste in music. I used to be a metalhead myself, like all of
Yeah.
but now my taste is expanded to like many types of music, as long as music that makes my being joyful. And
Yeah,
one
because
of classical music, and it's
yeah.
so funny that I was in Twitter the other day, and
Mm,
there was like a huge argument of people saying like, well, I don't like classical music because it's not, it's classist. Only rich people have access
yeah.
to classical music. And I will argue that in the sense of, in one sense, it is. I'm not gonna, like, historically, there was a lot of background where, yes, this music was only for certain type of people. And,
Yeah.
I won't argue that. But right now, we can expose our children. This is music that is on the open. Many of the composers and their compositions are like, like anybody can download their music
Yeah.
and access to that. Uh, the other thing that I will say is like what is classes many times is not having the access to play instruments and allow
Mm,
children all classes to learn an instrument. And
mm,
I struggle with that myself as a parent of two children. Many times we have to try, apply for scholarship and try to like find the best way to fund the learning of an instrument. And I agree with many parents. It's not an easy thing to do, as well as learning languages. It's not an easy thing to do many times, and we will have to kind of find ways, because unfortunately, public education in the world is not free.
it's limited.
We
Yeah.
think that we should be advocating in the future. Like we need to keep advocating for all children to have quality access to music teaching,
Yeah.
music learning,
Arts.
instruments, arts,
Mm,
and language learning.
mm.
Many countries in the world have found out that that is beneficial for their own economies and for the well-being of the people or their citizens. So
Yeah.
we're still arguing with that, but that doesn't mean that we, as Latinos and Latino parents, or maybe not ultra rich parents. I'm not rich. There are a lot of things that I have done in the past that had involved sacrificing doing other things because I want my kids to being able to keep learning their
Music.
instruments.
Yeah.
Play the violin and the trumpet, and my son plays the piano. And
Oh.
it takes a lot of effort. I'm not. It's the
Yeah.
same as sports. Es lo mismo como
I
en los
was gonna
deportes.
say that. Like, I mean, many persons or many families say, well, I don't have enough money to pay for certain class, but it costs almost the same as if you want to take your child to learn another language or karate or football or whatever you want them to learn. But I was going to say that before that, you can start, anyone can start a musical education in their families by listening to music, by sharing musical experience, musical games. It doesn't have to be costly. And while they're babies, their musical education can be almost like really easy. As parents, you can talk to them and sing to them and make something fun and yeah,
With this little, this is a
yeah,
tiny we found on the
let's
second-hand
even
store. And look, it has all the notes.
yeah,
And, little tiny things to, get children involved in this
even
beautiful.
even before that, like with my oldest, we had lots of pots and lots of wooden sticks, and like she was happy with it, making sounds with it, boxes. I mean, there are lots of things that they can start shaking and rattling and just experimenting with sounds. You don't have to buy lots of instruments or expensive stuff to make them appreciate sounds and intonations and colors of music. You just have to be with them and play with them and share with them the music that you love.
Thing, that I was gonna mention is like if you are living in a place where they like seriously, especially now in the summer, a lot of the places have concerts in the park.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
there are many orchestras, duets, quartets that will be, like presenting themselves in the
Mm,
park, in
mm,
public spaces. I remember I have always taken my children to like free concerts in the park or concerts where I was able to afford it. I have
yeah.
to say, these concerts are not cheap. And like I have wanted to go to a lot of things, and I'm like, sweetie, we won't be able to afford it. Uh, so we will listen to it on YouTube or on the internet. But,
Mm,
the exposure and like for example, we had a exchange with another parent because they were saying, well, but I took my baby to a concert and the baby wasn't paying attention and it was disruptive,
yeah.
and all people were telling me like, oh no, like you need to hush your baby. And I will say, of course, I will never take my baby
Well,
like when they were younger to like a concert where everything was like, supposed to be quiet, or they were
yeah.
recording,
I've been
because
taught.
babies won't stay there, like
Yeah,
even if you
no.
get the toy or stuff like that. But I will encourage parents to like even find concerts in schools. A
Hmm.
lot of schools have the concerts for their bands or orchestras. Many
They're
times at
annual
the
concerts. They're open and they're free. And
and
but I was I
you
was
can
gonna
go because the kids will be there, and your kid is not going to be the only kid. And the other thing that I will say is like my daughter plays in a youth orchestra, and I have seen the faces of the children that see other children playing. Like they're like, oh,
mm,
it's not really my age. It's
you're
playing
s-
and
yeah, you're
and
saying something really important.
play a cello, and then they can like approach that child and say, oh, like like how did you learn, when did
Yeah.
you start learning, and they can
So
encourage each other. It's so wonderful.
so the first part of musical education is it starts at home. You start to sing to them when they're babies. You start to share the music, and then you take them to concerts, and then they start to really get to know different instruments while they dance and they sing, and then they can. I mean, everyone has different abilities, and everyone is, I don't know, someone might want to be a drummer while other wants to play the flute, right? So, I mean, they have to discover those things while watching other musicians play their instruments. And it's so important to take them and to expose them to these kinds of cultural events. Now, I was going to say that because of it might be expensive, but as you say, there are so many ways to expose our children to classical music or to music in general. It doesn't have to be classical music, but to jazz or to music from around the world. YouTube is a great example. Podcast is a great example. Many for example, TV shows use these types of music, and then you can take it from there and explain to them, listen, this is music from China, or this is music from Japan, and how do they sing? How do they dance? There are so many ways to expose our children to culture from around the world and to music from around the world.
Yes, and I have to invite everybody. If they don't even speak Spanish, if you speak English and you would like to listen to Claudia's podcast, Allegro Magico podcast, I will definitely invite you because I feel like she creates really well thought programs, very
Thank you.
interesting programs. You don't need to know Spanish to enjoy them. When, for example, you have a series of women composers,
Yeah.
and that was very wonderful. I found it delightful because many times we forget that there were many women who, like in many stages of the music,
It's not.
that were equals with the men, but because of the times, they didn't have as much exposure. But there's the music is out there.
It's 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 amazing the quantity of female musicians that are around the world and around many different time periods. So I discovered there is an encyclopedia of female musicians. There are more than 6,000 entries. So the music, as you say, is there. We just have to discover it. And
That's
why it has been forgotten? Well, it's because it's a male world, and mainly,
always changing that.
yes, of course, we're changing that. And we're exposing female composers, of course we are. But it's our job to discover them, and it's our job to expose and to say, listen to this music. It's as good as this other. I was listening to, I cannot remember her name right now, but there was this composer that I talked about in the podcast, and she was from the same period as Mozart. And because she was a woman, she couldn't go and study to Bologna, where she was accepted in that university, or she couldn't compose, or she could compose back in her home, but not to go out and make concerts, or because that was
Yeah,
not
they
female
used
accepted.
to,
But
they will
as
have to
you
be
listen to her, there's this one like symphony, and you listen to her, and you're like, huh, this sounds like Mozart. But so maybe Mozart, because he met her, maybe Mozart was inspired by her music because she was older. So there are so
wow.
many things that are out there connected, and we just have to expose the female part, the woman part, and how they have been really a great role of playing music around the world. There's so many concert players, piano players that I've been discovering, and they've been so famous in their time and then suddenly forgotten because they were women. So yeah, it's been a great and intense journey, my journey of making the podcast for the little ones, because I've been discovering so much information that I didn't think it was possible
That's
to
exactly what I'm saying. You
understand.
can practice for the whole family and for
Yeah.
children of ages.
No, I
And
was, yeah,
I want to encourage parents to don't feel intimidated in any way by classical music.
that's my
You
point.
know, we
Hmm.
need to like empower ourselves and our children and feel comfortable at all times with all this knowledge. And this is general knowledge.
That's the point, and it's as much as general knowledge as K-pop or as, I don't know, as African music, right? Like you can listen to everything. As I was reading the other day, I don't know the name of the person, of the doctor who said this, but music is the language of emotions. Is as any other language, as you would learn any other language, but it's transmitting and it's expressing the emotions of all humans. So as because it is that, it doesn't matter if it's classical music or jazz or African or K-pop, as long as it transmits us something and makes us better humans. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
don't be intimidated by classical music. Classical music is beautiful as much as any other.
quería repetir precisamente ese mensaje a los padres que hablan español, de que no
Sí.
se sientan intimidados nunca por la música clásica. Antes, al contrario, debemos exponer a nuestros hijos. Este es conocimiento general. Esto es algo que todo el mundo debería conocer y no sentir de que, no, es que esa música es aburrida o esa música no es para mí. Hay muchos periodos de la música clásica. Hoy en día hay hasta nuevos géneros dentro de la música clásica. Hay
Sí.
maravillosos artistas de la música clásica contemporáneos. Y bueno, yo no sé cuál sea tu preferido en este momento, pero yo creo que ahorita todo el mundo está yendo en un periodo de Piazzolla, que ha sido uno de los compositores modernos argentinos, que ahorita
Sí.
todo el mundo está tocando Piazzolla y yo digo,
Ah,
¡wow!
está tocando Piazzolla ahí todo el mundo. Aquí yo acabo de salir, bueno, no de salir, bueno, que fuimos apenas hace una semana a ver a Alondra de la Parra, la directora mexicana, y estuvo aquí interpretando música mexicana y también de Gershwin y de Bernstein, pero pero creo que toda esta música, lo que tú dices, todo lo que se interpretó ahí era música contemporánea y es música con una mezcla de estilos, con una mezcla de colores y de texturas musicales que nos hacen, la verdad es que vibrar, y fue un concierto excepcional. Y había muchísimos niños, que fue lo más increíble. Acabó a las 11 de la noche, pero había niños que se estaban portando genial y estaban descalzos, sentados, pero estaban moviéndose con la música, eran los primeros que se ponían de pie a aplaudir. Y creo que es importantísimo exponer a los niños por eso a eso. Son los primeros que disfrutan y son los primeros que entienden el lenguaje musical.
Y padres, acuérdense, la música es otro idioma.
Mm.
No hay nada más lindo que
No.
ver a un chico que puede leer una partitura y se reúne con el otro y dice, bueno, hagamos esto en 4/4, en 3. Y
What's that? ¿Qué es eso?
y el uno con el tambor y el otro con el cello y el otro. Y yo
Ay, qué
digo, wow,
hermoso.
música que toma un nivel definitivamente de concentración alto,
Mm.
y es una música que ayuda muchísimo para la autoestima de los niños y de los jóvenes. Y de verdad, es una invitación para que todos los padres que estén viendo este IG Live o lo estarán viendo más adelante, busquen el podcast de Claudia, Allegro.
Gracias.
Y les digo que de verdad es algo que es un podcast que pueden disfrutar como familia, aprender juntos.
Sí, de hecho lo hice en cuatro tipos de episodios. Tengo niñas
Ajá.
pequeñas, así que yo buscaba una forma de transmitir la música clásica a los más pequeños. Y el primer episodio es siempre sobre un personaje que tenemos que se llama Chai, y es un ratoncito. Y mi hija mayor, que tiene 6 años, se inventa las historias y las contamos con música. Entonces está pensado especialmente para los más pequeños, como si fuera un cuento musical. Ya después, pensando en los más mayores, que ya tienen un poco más de conocimiento, que pueden tener un poco más de atención, pues ya hablamos sobre compositores, sobre géneros, escuchamos una obra, y puede ser cualquier obra, tú lo has visto, podemos escuchar desde Wagner, que acabamos de hacer el del Oro del Rin, o podemos hacer también Hansel y Gretel, que son óperas y que uno diría, ¿eso cómo lo van a escuchar los niños? Pues sí, hay niños, me escriben padres de todo el mundo diciéndome, mi hijo de 7 años se puso a ver Hansel y Gretel, toda la ópera, y solo se levantaba para comer algo y regresaba. O sea, son cosas que se les exponen, les gusta, les puede gustar, como decía John Cousteau sobre el mar, que él hacía las películas porque él pensaba que si nosotros no conocíamos el mar, no lo podíamos amar. Y es lo mismo con la música clásica, no puedes amar algo que no conoces. Entonces ya te digo que tengo diferentes tipos de episodios, desde los más pequeños o a los más grandes les puede ir gustando. Así que espero que
Me
les guste.
encanta, Claudia. Tenemos que irla cerrando porque si no después poner el video se me complica, pero
Sí.
de todas maneras te doy muchísimas gracias por lo que
Gracias
haces.
a ti, Joana.
De lo que es la educación, de animar a nuestros hijos, de llevar la próxima generación a ver las cosas en contexto y esperar cosas grandes de ellos. Y I wanted to say to everyone that like I'm very thankful for what you're doing. I
Thank
love
you.
that you're teaching next generations about music and how to love music and expose them into it. And I hope everybody takes advantage of the resources that Mama Tortuga is doing through
Thank
our
you. Yeah, thank you very much.
and I want to highlight that we only invite people that we believe on, like for doing our IG lives. And I believe on what you're doing, Claudia.
Thank
So
you,
thank you.
Joanna. I believe in you too. Like this.
Okay, so we're gonna go with some music as well,
Yeah.
and please keep up checking out. I will put the link on my profile, and then it will be on my website. Have a great day and night,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Bye bye.